Hello and welcome to another My Little Podcast. We are your hosts. I am here. I am here. I am Bree. I'm here with my father, Gary.
Hi, everyone.
My mother, Shelly.
Hi.
And my brother, Bryson.
Hello.
And today we're going to...
Hello again.
Hello.
Wait, I should do mine again, too. Hello.
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 You know, last week when Bryson did his little pitch, we should have had some really dramatic music.
Only
you
after
should
the
put
fact.
that behind there. That'd be fun.
Yes, I should put that behind there.
Because you can do music like that.
I can
You
do
are
music
amazing.
like that. Thank you.
So this week we're going to be talking about some casino stuff and, and also other things like stuff from our weekly peek. And who knows where this chit-chat might take us.
It could go anywhere.
The world is open to us.
And the journey begins.
Yes.
But before we get into that, I thought we'd start today off with a question. Or not a question, a comment.
Oh, okay.
Dorothy Cook says, I love my apron. I ordered it hunter green with the hummingbirds. The quality is amazing. I may have to order another one. My 3-year-old granddaughter has me wrapping it around her when she helps with the dishes. Love that you love your apron, Dorothy. We really appreciate it. We've got all kinds of really great products at the apron, but also other things on our website. We got fun designs and t-shirts and sweatshirts and all kinds of fun stuff over there. I know we are always wearing them ourselves. We certainly love the quality of the prints and everything. So
is it possible to get like toothpicks and
My Little Homestead toothpicks? Actually, give me enough time. I'll find it.
A way. Okay.
It's a beautiful segue into our sponsor.
MyLittleHomestead.com merchandise store. If you'd like to check out and get an apron of your own or maybe something else of your own, you can check out the link down in the description. So, all right.
AKA ourselves.
So we shared more, the last weekly peek, we shared more of our trip into Oatman, and also a little glimpse into our trip to Laughlin, which was kind of the central hub. We went out from Laughlin to go to these other places. We'll have one more place in the next weekly peek as well that we're going to be talking about. Pretty excited about that. Mm-hmm. But Bryson recently turned 21.
Woohoo! 21.
Yes, the big 21 number.
Yes.
Or 12.
A couple months ago, really.
Yes.
It was a couple months ago.
Oh, yeah. Well, I suppose.
January.
It was a couple, but it was recently. Still,
We still had
within 2 months.
No.
It's recent enough.
Yeah.
I mean,
Is that what brought us to? I guess that's what brought us to Laughlin.
Yeah,
it?
we thought the family was, the extended family, grandma, grandpa, aunts, uncles, cousins were making their...
Second cousins, second uncles. I mean, we had all of them.
We're meeting in Laughlin just because, I don't know, they do that every once in a while. And we thought, so with Bryson 21, we thought this would be a good time to go up to Laughlin and, do the casino thing. Huh? So what'd you think?
I learned something very important.
What's that?
Don't put money in the machine if you don't want to lose it.
Yeah, I guess that is the rule, right? So who wins all the time? 100% of the time, the house wins.
I mean, you look at the big buildings and you're like, they get money somewhere. Well,
yeah. Well, we each had we know this going in, so we had prepared ourselves. We each had a budget of $20 a day that we would go in and we busied ourselves the rest of the time because we also wanted to share the Oatman and some other places too that we went. So,
a lot of places around there, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it was a bit of a filming trip and also an introduction into Bryson being 21 fully.
What I found really fascinating was you sat here and you sat right on the edge of the river, right? And you looked across to Arizona and you looked from Nevada to Arizona and you look at the two states and you're like, why isn't there big structures on both sides of these rivers? You know what I mean? There should be big structures, just both be flourishing, right? And yet only one side was flourishing and the other side was just like barren. And it was just
Well,
like,
it was flourishing with gambling that's illegal in Nevada. The only place that you're really going to get
I mean-
buildings
You
like
can't
that.
do that on the other
I
side.
guess
Yeah,
so.
you
it's
can't
not-
do that on the other
But
side.
I think
It's
it's
just-
flourishing in a different way. You're seeing the big buildings and the casinos, but on the other side, there's commerce, there's
Business.
yeah,
Lots of
there's
business.
boating, there's camping. It's a different type of
different
flourishing.
type of.
Plus
It's
the
the
airport.
legal type of flourishing on both sides.
The airport is right across from there too, so it owns part of that land and needs room for expansion.
Yeah.
You know,
Wasn't it Don Laughlin that built that bridge? Because neither county on either state could agree on who was going to pay or build that bridge that crossed both the states.
Right.
And so Don Laughlin, he's like, all right, I'll build it if you guys maintain it. And so that's what they've done ever since then. It's a nice bridge.
And he had
Yeah.
quite the vision, like out on the desert. Of course, it's the water. Everybody's always attracted to water. But, he thought, hey, I'm going to put some casinos here and brought in a lot of people.
Yeah.
You know, I don't,
Build
Good-
it and
good
they
revenue.
will come.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That is the core of Laughlin, I feel like.
That's what Bree said. That was the core of our trip.
Yeah, build it and they will come. I feel like that everywhere we went,
Yeah.
that's what it was.
Because we have a build it and they will come coming this week. That's an incredible build it and they will come little segment we're going to do.
Oh yeah, it is. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was the
Hint,
sneak
hint.
peek to the week.
Spoiler alert.
yeah,
Sneak peek
that's
to the
right.
week.
It's not even a sneak peek. It's just kind of a let's get you excited blurb.
A blurb. It's
So-
just merely a blurb.
I found something else kind of fascinating too. Now I'm thinking back. There's no big trees that were around there.
That's
You
true.
would think there would be these massive trees with water flowing right there. You would think there would be like growth like you couldn't believe, and yet it was hardly nothing.
Yeah, Grandma said that it just got too hot for anything to live, regardless of the water. But I don't know. It
Or is the
is
ground not
weird
fertile?
to me. But yeah, maybe
the ground's
it's
not fertile and they can't.
It's really weird to just nothing, then water. That is. Well, we have such extensive knowledge in running water. Sit down, let me school you. I mean, come on. We just assumed. And,
I mean, yeah, I guess so. But I was. Well, I mean, when I picture water, I picture lots of green and
Yeah.
flourishing around it. But I don't know.
yeah, well,
Yeah.
I have. Oh, go ahead.
No, I would imagine that there is green and flourishing. Remember a few years back, we went to the Colorado River. I don't remember which town it was that we went to, but one of my uncle had that land, and you remember those incredible trees. They were mulberry trees, and they were massive
So beautiful.
on his land. So yeah, I think that we just have. You're looking at a place where there's casinos and sidewalks, and they're just it's taken out because you're got the commerce there, but you have off to the side we were seeing little trees and little things like that. So I think if you took
But I mean, even if we were
There's a
driving,
park
though,
that's a little ways down that we didn't go to. I know has trees and stuff. I remember.
yeah, but it's not like you're right. It's not like the Pacific Northwest or other parts of the world really where just massive trees grow. Where it's still the desert.
yeah, very much. So.
Also, too, there's not really soil out there. It's sand. Soil's different. That's what you find in the Pacific Northwest is soil. So that first 5 feet or 2 to 5 feet is all. Usually, it's some kind of bed of easy growing stuff that you can put in there. So throw a couple of seeds around and it grows. Out here, it's mainly sand, which sifts through and drops into the water table.
yeah.
So before we get
Interesting.
into my subject that I have studied up on all of 5 minutes before coming in here.
Longer than that.
Oh yeah, no, I've had longer than that before that point. But we're like, hey, we should tell this story. So I'm like, oh no, I've got to get my facts straight. So I have them all pinpointed down here. But before we get into that, do we want to talk a little bit about the Oatman? I know you had done some research
is there
about.
any more on Oatman because it was.
Oh, we just learned that they were mining the town again, or mining the mines
Yeah,
again.
okay.
Really?
Somewhere where I
Oh.
read said that they had picked up mining again, and that's why they weren't
For
doing
gold?
tours. Yeah,
Copper?
Gold and stuff.
gold. Yeah, I don't know.
I know the
Gold
price of
hills.
gold definitely went up for a while, and I don't know where it's at now.
Yeah,
but
it dropped so low at some point they just stopped and made it into tours.
Well,
but
it's too
then,
expensive to take it out of the ground.
yeah,
Danny,
but I
than
think
it is to
they
get.
and I don't know when the article was written. I didn't think to look, but it said that it started up again. So
Cool.
Well, it makes sense that
Wow.
it would. I think it's starting up, or it has
You know,
started up in a lot of places.
and once you
Mhm.
find gold in one place, usually there's still gold there. You know, like it
And
seems like
there's-
once they find it, it does dry up. I think eventually, but it's just like there's usually.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we're better at finding more of it now too. Like some of
Yeah.
those leftovers that they might not have caught the first round.
They would
Isn't
catch
it-
the second
yeah,
time. Yeah,
there's
like I've heard
better
a lot of people go
equipment
through
and-
the tailings of mines and stuff, and they'll find leftover gold that they didn't mine. They accidentally tossed out. And they're actually getting to the point where they can do, like, I was looking this up for a while because I was interested in it. They could get all the little gold flakes out of soil, and like micro gold powder they can actually get out of soil.
We're
and
becoming
stuff.
very efficient.
Yeah.
And I guess if it's
I
Through
hope
like
it
a certain
remains
method.
rare though. If everybody in
I-
their backyard's now digging it up looking for gold flakes, it's
No, I mean
I
like
think it's still
the thing
rare.
is, gold flakes is only going to be found in certain areas. You're not gonna.
that's true.
It's not just going to be in your backyard.
one of me and Bryson's
Very-
lifelong dreams
I
watching one
I've
documentary
actually mined.
is
For
you mine for gold.
before.
Yeah, one of our lifelong dreams, Bryson. After watching, I think it was a
Oh,
series.
yes.
Remember, we want to go
Yes.
to Australia because they have gold nuggets. You go through the ground and there's like just pockets of gold nuggets. I'm sure
And you
you'd
take a
have to
metal
be
detector.
like these people. You know,
That's right.
I mean, they work a long time to try to find those things,
Yeah,
and I
yeah,
don't
you
think
can
there's
tell.
as many as there used to be. But I
I
thought
think they
it might
had
be
to
kind
have
of fun.
permits and stuff too, didn't
Oh,
they?
maybe
to
they
get
do.
out there. And
Oh, they probably do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's
But
just one thing we wanted
It's a
to try,
dream,
'cause
and
it's
that's
out
something
of
we're
fun.
going to do eventually. I mean,
Well,
right?
Yeah, even
I
if
mean,
we just
even-
go there, take one shovel out, be like, "We looked, good job," and then walk off.
Here's what
And-
I was thinking. Even if it costs us more than what the gold is actually worth to get there and do it, we're still going to do it.
Exactly, just for the experience.
there you go.
That'd be so funny. Anyway,
Wonder how the fires are there.
yeah,
I haven't
I've
heard
that.
the news about
that,
the
I
fires.
have
I've heard they
kind of-
had some rain and stuff. So
That
hopefully
helps.
it's-
Yes.
You love to hear that. You love to hear that.
Yeah, you know, you think about the mines and stuff around. It's mostly copper, isn't it? In the mines around. here? So
Around
it's kind of
This area.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's kind of
Southwest
fun
area?
that's
Southwest
actually
has
was the
always
gold.
been a copper place.
It
They
was
have
like the
silver
gold rush that
mostly.
happened there at Oatman. So that's kind
Mhm.
of cute. I mean,
Yeah, and
Gold
silver. I think there's some
in the
silver
hills.
here too, but I think you're right. I think it is mostly copper.
yeah.
So
that's kind of
pretty
You could
fun.
mine for sand. There's plenty of
Oh
that
yeah,
here.
you wouldn't need to look far.
Look, I've got sand in my backyard. How much is it worth? About 3 pennies a ton, maybe. If anybody would buy it.
well, it's funny too because when you first go to Oatman and you hear about the reason they took that hotel down, you know, because of the property taxes. I know my first impression, it was like, wow, what a silly reason to do that for. You know, why would you do that?
Mm-hmm.
And but then when you look at the history and you look of how the town had been, you know, just
Really
at that
declining.
time it was just tanking. There was nobody coming. There's no income coming. So then I felt a little more sympathetic for the person who owns it. Yeah, I can
Yeah.
see why. Yeah, it's kind of a, you know, and what I guess he's not thinking it's an historic building.
No,
at that
at that
moment.
point, no.
And really, the building, the hotel down the road where Odie resides, is older by probably 10 years or more.
Mm-hmm.
So
It's not like he's going to be able to stay the oldest one. There was a rush, too, to stop people from tearing down old buildings, and I don't know when that took place, but it would have been before then, too, where anything was historical. I think there was a movement that went across on that.
I did find out who Odie is, too, by the way.
Oh.
He actually was a man who he had lost his family, and so he was very down, and he was just drinking and drinking and drinking, and he like behind that building he passed out, and then he ended up dying back there.
Oh, boy.
And they found him, and
Okay.
when he was already gone, and that's supposed to be who Odie is this guy here. This is the sad man, drunk
Aw.
man who lost his family.
Jeez.
So, not a fabulous.
It's a bit of a
story, but
downer.
It is a bit
Yeah.
of a downer.
Thanks for such
But
a
I guess in
painful memory.
his memory, though, it's more playful now, I guess. So
Yeah, they got him as a kind of a fun
he
little.
went from sad to glad all at once.
Probably, yeah, because they have to, make tourists happy.
Yeah, they can be like, he was sad. and when you go there, you will be instantly depressed, and you will walk out and know.
Well, I mean, maybe he's bummed because he loses his family, right? But generally maybe he's a jovial man, and the
but then
spirit of him
when
is.
he goes, he gets to be with his family again. So it's a good story, right?
Right.
Oh,
It's a story of reuniting.
it's all about perspective.
So he would be
Yeah.
happy now, right? Who knows? All right.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I had a couple of commissions that I had to do last week, and they were banner commissions, so I was there for a long time. Whenever I'm sitting for long periods of time, I like to listen to something while I'm working, drawing, And every so often I get the bug to watch lots of documentaries or listen to them because they're easier to listen to, and you just, So we had recently gone to Laughlin, so this must have been just on my brain, but I got prompted to watch a documentary about a guy that had stolen a lot of money from casinos. He was known as that. He was one of the captions was like that slot designers designed their machines with this guy in mind because of how just he was
Legendary he
notorious
was.
for this stuff. So I thought I would share what I've learned with you
Oh,
because
does this mean I can go and win now at the slot machine?
No.
Oh, okay, bummer. Okay.
no, it was stealing.
Because we didn't spend much there, obviously. God.
No, anyway, this guy was called Tommy Carmichael was his name. And in the 1980s, he worked at a television repair shop. And he bumped into a buddy named Ray Ming. And Ray Ming has got a mini slot machine in his trunk. Pops that little sucker open and shows Tommy this something called a top-bottom joint tool. And basically what this tool does is it connects, it's like a metal bit, like a metal wire up on the top of the machine and connected down at the bottom machine, and it creates a current, a slow electrical current in a slot machine, and it causes the machine to spit out quarters, or I think this was nickels at the time. Spits out just tons of nickels.
Oh my
okay.
goodness.
And Carmichael, after seeing this, he's hooked. So he gets himself a top-bottom joint and hits the casinos with it, and he's making a lot of money. And I think the authorities are kind of onto him. They tend to get onto him. And he goes into a Denny's to eat, and then I think to do some gambling there too. And they catch him. They storm the place, and they find the top-bottom joint in his pocket, and he goes to jail. So that's his first trip there. He gets 5 years, which, believe it or not, is a long time for you to go in for this type of thing. But he gets that because he's got a track record. So, anyway. But he meets a guy in prison. The guy's name is Mike Balsamo. And Balsamo, they kind of like, they're both there for kind of the same thing, and they agree to meet up after their
Imprisonment
their imprisonment is up, after they serve their time. They're like, oh, we got to meet up. We got to do this together. When they get out, I don't think they're allowed in casinos, but that does not stop Carmichael from going. But when they get out 5 years later, the top-bottom joint, the casino slot people have created their machines to kind of combat this top-bottom joint. So he's got to find a different tool. So him and Mike Salmo, they hit the rest of the very few slot machines that are still out there that use the top-bottom joint, and they raise, I think it's only like $1,000 or something like this, to get a new slot machine. So so that Tommy Carmichael can just go over it and try to find out a way to hack into it. Well, they do that, and he comes up with something that they nickname the monkey claw. It takes him 6 months to create this thing, the monkey claw, okay? Yeah, the monkey claw. And this
Do
device...
have claws?
I don't know, but apparently... I don't know.
I don't think so. Long fingernails, maybe.
So anyway, this monkey claw...
That's a good question. Sorry.
Well, you can claw your hand when you claw at something. And a monkey, although does not have the opposable thumbs, right? I thought they did have opposable thumbs. I was told by Dad they don't. But anyway, there you go.
That's
Okay.
what makes you
I'm gonna
human,
move on
dear.
now.
See, rather than a primate.
There you go. There you go.
Well, some of us are.
A thumb separates us.
We do have monkeys running around that look like humans. But
Anyway, so this thing is made with I thought Bryson might think this is interesting, but it's made with some like steel and guitar string is what this thing is made out of. So there you go.
Oh.
Anyway.
Wow. Okay.
But it trips like the micro switch inside the machine, and it causes it to just pour out quarters. It pours out quarters at approximately $1,000 an hour. So you can imagine you can make some nice coinage on this thing. Okay. And eventually this thing goes out of, they're catching on. They're slowly catching on to the
They eventually find it. Okay.
Yeah, okay. And so they have to get a new one, and they develop another one called the light wand. And he does. Carmichael's the one that does all the developing. He thinks it's just so fun to figure out how to get into these things. Anyway, he creates another one called the light wand, and he raises so much money, I think, selling this light wand to other people, to other crooks and criminals,
Oh my gosh.
And
okay.
I think it was on this one. He said he was using his light wand. By this time too, surveillance systems are getting finally put into casinos. By this time, and I don't know, in the 90s. Finally, it's happening. So they're having to really dodge cameras and stuff. So he's got his light wand going, and he sees him coming towards him. So he chucks the light wand cleverly underneath. He just slides it underneath a bunch of slot machines. And so when they're patting him down, trying to find this light wand on him, they can't find it. And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't even know what that is. I don't know what you guys are talking about, right? They comb the floor. They find it, and they're like, this is it. And he's like, well, that's not mine. I don't know what you're talking about. That's not mine. So anyway, he gets away with it. He's got a great lawyer. But but eventually he eventually does get sentenced. In 2000 he gets sentenced, and he gets sentenced to a little under a year. 2000, the year 2000.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
He gets sentenced to only a year in prison, but he gets 3 years probation and a court order to stay out of the casinos. Until his probation is up. So he's like, all right, I've had my fun, type of a deal. And then so he decides that he's going to go on to the other side of things now, and he's going to create himself something called the Protector, and this is to stop thieves from getting into slot machines. And he actually gets a lot of people lined up for this, but when they find out that it's Tommy Carmichael's the inventor of this thing, they're like, no. Oops. So anyway, that's
too bad, because that probably works really, really well.
Yeah, it probably would have. But how could you trust him? I mean, he's stolen millions from you over the course of time.
You just use it and don't tell him.
So, Bryson, then you just bumped into one of your favorite YouTubers.
So I bumped into Linus Tech Tips talking about the casinos and kind of their security stuff that they have. It is amazing. They go all the way down to literally building a profile of you the moment you walk in the door. And they have you, and they know, and they can pull up data through a database on how many casino, how much money you spent, what games you played, what games you love to play. If you think you're figuring out the system, they swap it up, and they change a ton of stuff just based on you the moment you walk in the door. And they got cameras and stuff everywhere. It's really quite an amazing system.
Jeez.
And then now I don't know if they do it. I know this is the UK now. This is not necessary. I don't know what they do in the
Oh,
United States.
They could be different. I was going to say that
because
seems
there
really...
are certain laws that obviously are a little different.
Legal?
Yeah, but anyway, and they even have their poker chips are all chipped with chips.
Yeah.
and they're all marked and numbered, so you can't cheat those. They're all electronically
So is that
numbered.
a poker chip?
It's a poker chip. And apparently their card decks, they're labeled and numbered with invisible inks that cameras can read. And so cameras can tell if you're card counting, things like this. They can actually discover that and figure that out.
It's amazing. You get down that trail.
Pretty amazing.
There's so much to learn about it. And usually everything the casino does to prevent something is because somebody has cheated them out of a lot of money.
At some point.
They even had a gang when they have I forget what they call it, like the pit or something, whatever. It's usually in the center of a casino, and it's where all the money's counted, and so they have a bar. So they had a gang of people that would just show up out of nowhere. They'd hit the casinos where that's pretty close to the door, that money counting place. They get little guys, and they'd slide into the bars, take a bunch of money, and just out they'd go. And it took them forever to try to find out who was doing that.
You know, it's funny you don't think about people stealing from casinos.
Yeah.
You're always thinking they're out to get you. They're trying
Yeah.
to get your money. You don't think
Yeah.
about it the other way around. But yeah, you can imagine.
Yeah.
Well, that's where money is.
Yeah, a lot of it.
But you always
too,
think
I guess.
of, the casinos, they got the mafia or some
Yeah.
underground. They're just really
Yeah.
tough and you don't mess with the casinos. Isn't that kind of the impression? That,
Yeah, and they like that impression because it keeps
Yeah.
a lot of people from doing things.
I
But
wonder
then,
if how much truth is to it. Maybe it's just
maybe it's
a fear tactic.
yeah, a little more fury. So yeah, but
Yeah.
it's interesting. A lot of people.
I think nowadays, if you want to hack and stuff, it'd be phenomenal to be a white hat. You go in and you hack on purpose, and you get paid for it.
To
If you
show how
find
to-
problems,
To show how
Maybe
to
you get
fix
to
it.
keep
Show how to
half
fix
of your
it.
winnings.
Exactly. So
I see what you
know.
mean. You don't show how to fix it. You show how that something could get broken into.
Yeah,
so
you
they
let
can
them know
fix
that
it.
there's
so
a
they can
breach.
fix it.
I gotcha.
And then you get paid in the process. They pay you for, of course, going in and
Trying to
hacking
break
this
it.
thing.
Yeah.
But if you love to hack, that would be a great way to make money and do what you love.
And do
you
it,
know?
yeah, and do it
and do it
the right way.
legally.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean,
You
you
know.
wouldn't even need to be a hacker too. If you're clever
No, you
enough, you
wouldn't.
can. People will hire chunks of people to try to break their video games. Just try to
That's
cheat it,
right,
try to
they do
get
that
through it.
too.
And there's people that I've met that are so good at video games. I'm like, man, that would be a really good job for them. They could do it.
And some people are really logical. They can keep track of so much up in a game. Like you play some games out there, and there's a million different values all on your screen, and you're figuring out what they do. Some people are really amazing.
And some
Yeah.
people
comes to-
are not.
Some people,
Yes.
Some
Yours
people-
truly
you wonder
is
why
not
they're
one.
still playing the game.
Look at the colors. Oh, they change
they're
all
so
the
pretty.
time. Ooh, there's
I-
numbers over here. Ooh,
I-
cool.
I-
Ooh, am I
can-
winning? I know it says game over,
Yeah.
but am I winning?
Yeah, that's me. That's
Back
me.
when I was recording gaming videos, I would think every time that I had lost a game, I'm like, oh, I lost, and then I go back to the footage to edit it, and I'd win. I'd win most of the time, but I thought that I lost. I'd be like, oh, too bad. Well, thanks for blah blah blah. Getting into my so worried about getting us out that I didn't even realize I had won. That happens so much. I don't know what is wrong with me.
You're just a winner.
I'm just a winner,
Yeah.
accidentally. I have no
Yeah.
idea. I'm like, am I even playing this right? In my mind, I'm going, am I even playing this right? Do I even understand what's happening? And then I win. And I don't even know until I go to edit it. So,
That happens.
That's
But yeah, and it's kind of amazing too. Like you look at the apps. I don't know if anyone spent time on the App Store just looking at the games and stuff that are on there. They're really the games are that go popular for a little while. Sometimes are the most silliest games you'd ever think of. Like Flappy Bird went popular for a little while, and it was literally just a bird flopping through pipes, and that was it.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, it really just takes a unique idea, and that's what sparks the whole thing. For game developers, that is. I mean, you're not planning to be a game developer.
And then there are some that I've seen you play which I didn't understand. Like, hey, look, when I touch this button, money comes out. So you keep
Oh, yeah.
tapping the button and money keeps coming out. So how long have you been playing that game? I don't know, but my hand is so sore. I've been tapping this
Oh,
forever.
Yeah.
Like
Cookie clicker?
Yeah, cookie clicker.
That's
there you
one
go.
of Bryson's pride and joys.
Right there.
I will play one similar, but
Not so
there'll
much
be
cookie
there'll be a
clicker,
little bit
but-
more clicking involved and a little more like
logic.
I like something that, but I still do it. Fundamentally, I get them to the point where they are a cookie clicker. But that's the point. The fun is getting it to the point where it's a cookie clicker.
There used to be this farming game, and no longer the servers stopped working on it, so you can no longer use the app anymore. Why they keep it out there, I don't know. But anyway, and it was this game where you could go and you could plant stuff, and you could plant and farm. It was supposed to be like a Farmville kind of game,
Yeah.
and but what you could do is you could delete all the buildings, and you could just do farm patches. The farming fertile patches or whatever you do for farming.
Yeah.
And you could just do those. So I filled the whole thing up with those. And then I'd sit there and I'd plant a plant at the very beginning, and I'd go down the line, and by the time I got to the end, I could go back up to harvest that plant, and I could just go around and around and around and around. I made a ton of money in that game because you could just sit there just farming it, like grinding it. Oh, that was a lot of fun.
Well, they
is
should have put some things like, well, you've been here doing this so often, you haven't put any fertilizer on, so therefore your ground.
Oh yeah,
is
they could have
all-
made it. They
yeah,
could have made
more
it
variables.
more intense.
They
But
could have done that.
Yeah.
But to me, having a game and you find something like that, a way you can do that, I think is kind of the fun of the game. you know? And I think a lot of games should implement it more. You know, they shouldn't give you limits of you only have 15 plots you can plant with, you know, or something silly. Like, they should allow you to do that. I think that would be, you know, if you want to sit there and farm it, you can, you know? It's nothing stopping you.
It's so interesting how humans, we love to be able to do those repetitive tasks too. What is up with that? I don't even know.
We did start, remember we started that Clash of Clans. And you started it, and I came on board, and we played that for a little while. I had an actual crew of 50 people or so, and then lost interest and but I just kept going. For years now, I keep going and keep building. I never attack anybody, but I just sit there and just develop my little place and get my little coins and, you know, collecting my little gems and
Last time I
I
looked
can't
at your
stop.
place, it was awesome.
It's massive.
Thank you.
It was massive.
Yeah, it looks nice, but I don't attack anybody, so I don't have any rating.
He uses it like a farm bill, but you
Yeah.
know, it's an attacking
What
game. But
didn't I just tell you, Shelley?
You're a builder. You're
a builder.
I am a
You're not a
builder.
fighter.
Yeah,
You're a
I'm a
builder.
fighter.
builder.
Yeah, I can fight if necessary. But the solitaire game, I finally got to 100,000. I'm so proud of myself.
Yes.
The true OG gamer
Right
of the group.
there.
Solitaire.
Yeah,
I think
baby.
was that mine that I passed on to you?
I don't remember if I inherited your 30,000
I
or
think
it was
so.
one of my. I think
we found a way to hack the solitaire.
I ended up with her game. Hey, your game's doing well, by the way. It's
You
at
carried on
100,000.
well.
Oh gosh.
It's just past your generation, if you wonder, and from you to us, the love
know
of
what?
finding some way to jerry-rig games, just
What's-
like we jerry-rig life.
What's that mining one where you sit there and you click, and it's a total random chance. You have no idea what's going to happen, but you sit there and you click the squares, and they turn to numbers or they turn to a bomb.
Oh,
What's that
the mining one, the old.
Are these Facebook games? What are
No,
they?
this would be
like,
on like
came
a
with Windows. I
computer,
think it came
baby.
with
It was the
Windows at
the
one
one
point.
where.
Oh, it's called Minefield.
Yeah, there you go.
Minefield.
It's close.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I used to play that too.
I played a little bit of that.
Yeah.
Really young. When
I
did
got
some.
irritated because it was random and you
Yeah.
couldn't. I mean, maybe there was a way
I-
to figure it out, but it was just like, boom, you got killed, and it's like, I just clicked
Wait.
on you, man. Okay,
Should we go, to
ahead,
some
Mom.
comments here
Yeah.
from
Oh, yeah,
last
yeah,
week's?
yeah, yeah.
I wanted to make a comment here though myself on if you heard the Laughlin section, that was all the music behind that was orchestrated by Gary. We gave him that section and he just went in and you did all the music, and that was really, it turned out really fun. I thought you did a great job. So
Thanks.
we're going to try to do that once a week because we have some things that we're planning in the future from scratch, you know, not combining. Like we have some movies out that are combined of you know, several weekly peaks on one project, like building of Shay's, building of Bryson's, these kinds of ones. Building of the kitchen will be coming out too, just all one, so you can just watch it in one show, an hour and a half long. But we also have several shows that we have planned in the future that will be hour and a half long from scratch, and those are the types of shows that we want to do 100% of our own music. And Gary will be the one. I know Bree, you two will be
Well, yeah,
doing
but
some
Dad
of
will
it, but
be a
Gary
big
is
one,
really Bree's kind of the lyricist. You do great on lyrics, and you
love
write
lyric-
music
I
too.
love-
You do on your guitars.
Yeah,
and
but
stuff.
I like lyrics more than I do anything.
Yeah, and Gary's.
I like the music better than the
Yeah,
lyrics.
that's why we work together really well.
Yeah, it is. Lyrics just get in the way of the stuff that I want to hear. You know what I mean? Hey, we should stop singing. There's some good stuff going on here.
Yeah, so that makes Gary the perfect one to orchestrate behind the section. So we thought, you know, we got together and talked about it and said, hey, let's go ahead and have Gary just take one section every week, that to just get in practiced up. And you pulled it off. You got it done.
Yeah, 5 songs.
The
Did
week
really
before,
well.
you
Did
had
really
done
well.
just one little segment for
was
the
the Oatman.
ghost. You
Yeah,
did
the
the
ghost.
ghost one up the stairs and the
yeah.
ghost. And then this time you did a full section, and you had to do several different little tidbits of songs in there. But
Yeah, you did great both weeks.
Thanks.
Fabulous.
yeah. I know he's like, okay, guys, what you know, got any tips for me? Got any things that you? And we're just
what's
like,
the
no,
feedback?
we loved it.
It was
Yeah,
great.
they liked it. They go, oh,
Awesome.
thanks for the feedback. But that wasn't feedback. That was-
I mean,
That
I
was just
appreciate
a
the praise, but could
appreciation.
you give me something more
Yeah.
constructive? Really could use it.
I can
No, it's
handle it.
great. It
I can
sounded
handle
awesome.
Okay. Well, I have some ideas about what I want to do differently to tighten that up. So good. Thank you.
Yeah, good stuff. So the top comment from the Friday's Weekly Peak, last Friday's Weekly Peak, is Route 66 has gotten, it's by Dean O, which is interesting because Dean O, my dad's name, first and middle name, is Dean Oscar. So I don't know if this is my dad, but it looks like it's a picture of, is that Jefferson there, Gary, the icon?
Yeah, that's not Dad.
But it's not Dean either. That's not Dean. I think that's
No, no.
Anyway, Dean O says Route 66 has gotten more traction now, which is a quote from the movie or a quote from the show. And he says, "You can pun even without knowing it. I will never tire of your puns." Referring to you, I'm Bree.
Get the tire.
Big
Tire. Oh yeah, I did tire
he's
in
got
all
a pun
caps.
right inside his own
Oh, that's
Dean.
good. That's
That's
good.
excellent.
without even knowing it. No.
Yeah, and that was the top one because what makes it the top is if people looking at comments and then they give it a thumbs up, it pushes the one to the top.
And pushes them higher.
He's got 25 thumbs up on that as of today. So, good job, Jim.
Oh, good pun. Good pun. I love the tire. Very good. That's awesome. So Catherine McKenzie asks, why didn't you paint the entire box with the white bottom? Okay, and this is
Wait, what is this?
to give you some context. And this
okay.
is on the weekly peak, and Garen and Ellie are painting the tanks,
right.
and so they didn't paint one all the way to the bottom. And as I was watching the footage, I'm like, "Whoa, you guys forgot a little bit there." So that's like, and then they sunk it
Missed the
into the
spot.
ground. So it might bother somebody who's like, "Oh my gosh, it wasn't all the way painted," but it's efficient not
Somebody
to
with
paint the whole thing.
OCD would say,
You know, it's
"Hey,
funny.
you didn't
Only
paint that whole
Garrett and
thing."
Ellie would think of that.
Yeah, me,
Well,
I
I
would have
painted
painted
the
all
whole
the
thing. I mean, we're going all the way in, boys. I mean, like,
They're
all the way
just
in.
their foresight is amazing.
Yeah, they
they're
have
like,
great
okay,
foresight.
let's stop right here. We're not doing one stitch more than we
efficient.
have
And
to.
I thought, oh,
Really
wouldn't it suck?
efficient when you think about it.
Yeah, and I thought, oh my gosh, would it suck if they didn't quite get it enough? Is what I'm thinking. I'm like, because that would be me. But in it goes, and it's like it's perfect. It even had they had space to spare.
Yeah, I'm
So-
not sure exactly what scene, but there's was scene where that particular one that's not all the way painted is coming right at the camera and drops down, and you'll see it definitely drops
And below that.
below that
level.
line.
They're all painted. They look
Yeah.
great.
I love the color they picked.
They always
Wow.
pick good colors.
It wasn't
Yeah.
pink. That's what I was happy about.
That's the running joke.
I love this whole design. How everything's level. It looks really, really cool.
Oh, on the
It's
grow
very
beds.
on the
orderly.
grow beds, on
Yeah.
the tanks. He even did a sump tank, which now I'm wondering if we should put a sump tank on ours. He's doing things and I'm like, I'll let him test the waters and see how his turns out. If it turns out good, I'm going to start copying
Test the
it. No.
waters.
Yeah, test the waters. There
No,
you go.
but-
And you go another
Wait,
pun
is
for
that a
the
pun?
day.
Yeah, that's what I was
Yeah.
thinking.
It's kind of interesting. He was, I won't. I will save all that for video. I won't.
Oh, okay.
I won't
Wait,
spoil
wait.
all of his.
I'm pulling it back. I'm
great
pulling it back.
ideas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah, no, it was kind of interesting on this week. We were kind of all over the map. And I was a little bit concerned because I thought, well, we're taking a trip and we're fixing a door and we're doing aquaponics and Bryson's doing headsets and we're just kind of all over the map. And I'm just,
Literally.
I'm kind of wondering, but I think that viewers they kind of expect that from us now. I hope.
I hope.
That's
Yeah.
this
the
is-
variety in the variety
Yeah,
show.
but I have to say, Candace Kelly said, I love this channel. Y'all did home improvement, tech, and a historical field trip all in one video. So thank you, Candace, for that
You make us feel
encouragement.
good. Our fear has now been appeased. Thank you for loving our randomness.
I mean, we
appreciate
are
it.
random, though, anyway, aren't we? I mean,
We
if
are.
we did it any other way, it wouldn't be us.
No,
So,
it wouldn't.
We find
Keep
interest
us
in
coming back.
random things. You know. So it's just
We have a lot that we do, man.
Have a
We
lot
want to
we
get
do
it all
too.
in there. So.
and a lot that we need to upkeep. No, I didn't.
So now you did. Speaking of the headphones, now you had gone into. Oh, you have. Oh,
I have a comment from the heads.
I
Are
was
you
guiding
ready
us
for
in.
it?
Yeah.
This is from Gabriel Strom. He says the helicopter headphones, the helicopter, are a cool idea. He's got another idea that he says he would take a pair of gaming headphones and kit bash them together and use the cool looking copper shell and the modern gaming phone headphones for the innards.
Oh, to get the good sound and all of that.
Yes, that's exactly what he
Smart.
says. Now, what does the sound like in those? I mean, are they pretty good sound or what?
A little tinny.
Okay.
There's not really much bass there, but usually headphones don't have much bass in general either, or at least not the ones that I've owned.
So, like in comparison to your last gaming set, which was a decent pair, and this, what's the comparison between the two?
I'd say just a touch tinnier with just a hair quieter, and that's about it.
But are you liking them? Are you?
Yeah. What I love about them is the soundproof quality on them. They are astounding. Like Bree's across the room, she used to talk to me when we were gaming and stuff like that. And she would say something. Now I look over at her and I see her lips moving and I cannot tell anything that she's saying. So I usually just leave the mic hot on my headphones and I listen to the mic. So then if someone talks, I can hear them through the mic so I can hear what's going on.
Oh, so that is an improvement in that sense.
Yeah,
then.
I do love the soundproofing quality. You really can zone out the world.
The mic is it bleeds a little bit more.
It does.
But it's okay
And
because,
like
I'm far enough away. I'm not hearing myself twice.
yeah, and like the connector that I did, the outer casing is wired to the microphone. So if you touch the outer casing, it creates a voltage difference and you hear buzzing that goes through the mic. So I don't know if I should have used a different type of connector for it or not. I don't know. I'm not familiar enough with that to know, but yeah.
Yeah, and you were out on the internet looking for how to do this. And
I was out there looking for information on these things. I looked up the Wikipedia because a while back we got a suggestion on look up the Wikipedia first so you learn the terms. And I did learn that a headset is the microphone plus the earphones on either side. And then a headphone is literally just the earphones, no mic, which is interesting because we get those things confused all the time. But anyway, and some other ones too. And I couldn't find information on how to wire these things. I couldn't find information on how just a normal headset is wired. Couldn't find any of that information. I had to look it up, and I found there was differences in mics, which I didn't really realize there was, but there is. There's different types of mics. And I had to do a lot of research on this that was more than I expected. I thought somebody out there in the world would have something like a homemade headset or something. There was a guy on YouTube, I think, that made his own pair of headphones, but not with the mic. So it was hard. It was tough to figure it out.
yeah, and that was kind of your motivation too to actually do a video on it as well.
And kind of talk
Or do
about
an
it
excerpt
because
from
there
it for
really
it.
wasn't anyone
Yeah, and
doing
we'll
it.
go ahead and we'll do that as a recap too. So if somebody's just looking to see how to do that, and what I was thinking too when we do the recap, why don't you add some additional information in it too? Once you have some experience using it, and
and a little bit of like a little review afterwards, maybe of those things that you mentioned, maybe
Okay.
so it can be thorough.
so
Yeah, it'd
people,
be nice
someone
and
who wants
thorough
to do
on
it, they can
I like
find
that.
the video.
Yeah, but yeah, now that I know, I'm like, wow, these are incredibly simple, and we're looking at maybe putting an audio center in the top of the our downstairs, so that when we have something on our computer, we can just click a button and it sends it to those speakers up there, so we all can hear. I thought that would be kind of cool, and I have an idea on how I can set those up, and that might be a future thing that I might
Yeah, I like that.
do.
That'd be good.
And it'll just be a button. So we'll have a little thing on our computer that we'll have our headphones plugged into. And then, when we want to switch it to the main computer audio, that's main speakers that's in the center of the room. We just click the button and it'll pop them up
Now,
there.
those won't get in the way of our wooden monster truck games that you're putting in, though, right?
No,
Okay.
no.
So make
So
sure.
you'll just be able to switch between
We have
your...
priorities.
Yeah.
Anyway, you'll just be able to switch between your headphones and the outside audio.
I like
which
that.
I'm pretty excited about.
I do.
I am too.
Sounds fancy.
We're going to
Be
be
a fun little
moving all
project.
around here
I
because we're going to be
know.
doing the shuffle, moving desks. So I'm coming downstairs, and Gary's going to take the whole upstairs.
Yes.
Because we're going to get all kinds of musical instruments.
We're
set
getting
up
a
for
baby
him.
grand piano, baby.
piano.
We're hoping to.
Setting
We're
up the
hoping-
drum set. Room for me
yeah.
and my bass and guitars.
Things we've wanted for a long time.
Yes.
Just not.
Yeah.
And we want to get Gary in a position where he can really get diving into that music because he's so talented. And you're just so
Really
talented
is.
in that area.
Got to
That's-
get working it.
Yeah, Gary's talented in a lot of things, but composition and music is his.
He excels there.
Yeah,
for sure.
he is. That's his number
Yeah.
one talent in my
He
opinion.
loves that too.
Yeah.
Try to compete? Nah. Go write your lyrics sweetheart, now.
Yeah, if I need lyrics, I'll go to you
no,
for
he's
sure.
talented in music
You've seen
too.
my lyrics. They're Gosh, Gary, that's funny how you could rhyme something with watermelon.
No, and then I give you my compositions.
Artichoke.
You're like, we could add this lyric or this chord and this chord, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's so much better. Let's do that. It all works out good.
Yeah, definitely.
So, okay, now, Talisha Garris asks, will Gary and Ellie be doing a full video from the start to finish of their aquaponics system? Would love their setup so far, and would love to be able to have an all-in-one full build video once it's done. And that's, yes, absolutely,
Yeah,
we'll be doing that for sure.
We were thinking about doing that on the other one too, but it's really such a hodgepodge. It's going to be kind of hard, but we might do
put
that.
together.
We'll
we might,
see.
but we
on that one. Plus, there's
know.
some more changes. You're going to make some major changes to it before spring, I think.
The aquaponics?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we might,
Yeah.
But Garen and Ellie's more than likely will be just one.
Speaking
Yeah.
of the aquaponics, I finally got around to planting lettuce. By the way, they're growing great inside. We're now moving into summer, so I'm not really sure how that's going to grow. But I'm going to toss them out there anyway, and they'll probably die. But
Now,
you
wait
know.
a minute. They probably won't die. Well,
I don't know.
I'm learning
it's a winter
because-
crop. We'll
let's see. It's March.
You
April.
might get a
This
little bit
is-
out of it.
We might, but it's
We
gonna
might.
get. It's gonna
I-
start
the
getting
thing
warm
is,
pretty fast
My
here.
Yeah.
hope is having that water constantly flowing underneath the roots of the plants. I'm hoping that will cool them down, and they'll actually be able to grow. That's my hope. The things that made it through winter without any issues was chives, strawberries, and some spinach. Oh, and that mint. For some reason, I can't kill
Mint
that thing.
does
It just
not
continues
die.
to-
it isn't a matter
At
of
one
harvesting it. It's
point-
how much can I cut this thing back?
I know. At one point, I walked out there. It was frozen to the point I was breaking leaves off of it. And yet, it came back. It's just-
Resilient for sure.
I just cannot kill that thing. It's amazing. It's
It will
minting
not
amazing.
die.
No. I'm thinking I should just be a mint farmer and just grow mint in there.
Success. Did you have something, Ma? You wanted to-
Yeah. In my world today, Patricia Colleen, she comments saying that she misses seeing Shay and that she hopes she's doing great in her new place. And she is, and we'll be doing a little clip of her new place here. Shay said to me yesterday, too, that she does want to, once she kind of gets settled in, and she'd like to start, getting us some video content too. We'll see how it goes with her. Who knows what might happen in her future? But I know she is tentatively planning
Future
to be
plans,
doing
she
that.
might
But I
have.
do have to say, Ollie is doing fantastic. He
Gosh.
was concerned that he was going to go there and be lonely.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
no, he is in his element. He owns that house, and one of her roommates has a dog, and he had a little hard time getting used to that dog because he felt he'd been there. He got there first,
Yeah.
and he thought that this was his home. And that dog is like 3 times his size, but he was telling him that this was his. Anyway, they settled in, but I am telling you, he is so content. I'm a little shocked at how quickly he
Yeah,
adapted.
he was meant to be an only child. Let's be honest.
Apparently.
Yeah, I've never seen him play with like toys or anything really that much.
Yes.
And you go there now, and he's like got toys in his bed just surrounding him, and he's just like constantly playing with them, and you're just like, whoa, he's one happy dog.
Yeah, and then
One
Shay
happy
will.
dog.
Shay takes him around with her too, And she said a gal came up to her the other day and said, "That is the ugliest cute dog I've ever seen."
That sums up Ollie pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's so ugly, but he is so adorable too. It's like this equal.
His personality is so.
He is a winning personality for
He does.
sure.
He does.
Yeah. Gotta love him.
Can't help it.
Yeah. If anything else there, Ma?
Some comments about your jailbreak, and that was that was a fun one. That
Spur of the moment.
Spur of the moment happened.
And we didn't even talk about it. We just went up and started doing stuff.
I know we saw this cool metal box that
Hey.
was a gel, and we're
Yeah.
like, what can we do with it?
I think I'll throw Bryson in there. Okay. And I'd stuff him in there.
And then I saw him going there. I'm like, I'm getting him out. It's bus time.
That was fun.
That's fun.
I was actually when I went in there at first, I was like, oh, this lock better not get jammed.
I
I was
know.
thinking that. I was like,
I know.
oh my gosh,
I
I'm
was
going to
like,
be
well, I hope
pissed if it gets
opens.
jammed.
I hope it opens.
I didn't think about that.
We could feed you through the top hole there, and
Man.
Was that like a real thing? Would they hold people? I mean, was that
No,
was that
I don't
real?
think
Was that
so.
just a
I think it
joke?
was
it
safe.
might have been just a retaining,
Just to
thing
hold
or-
somebody
or
for a
joke,
while?
or I don't know.
I don't know. I don't think so.
I don't
There's
know.
no place to sit. You just
I
go
know.
to
What would
stand.
happen if you wanted to sleep? You.
I guess
It'd
you
be pretty
sleep
uncomfortable.
standing up.
You have a lot of kinks in your neck. It'd be pretty bad.
Yeah, but if you're in there for a bad reason, who cares? I mean, you should be punished.
Well, I know, but you kind of want to let somebody sleep.
And
You?
ordinarily, it
I
prob-
think so. Yeah.
In the 1880s, did
I don't
they?
care. I don't
Like
care.
that.
But if I ever make a jail cell, that thing better have a toilet because I'm not cleaning up fecal matter.
Oh, that's true. But yeah, it's
Just
true.
saying.
You know, we do want to have. I'm kind of pulling your leg. We do want to have places to sleep and eat and stuff like that. But yeah, it's a small little cell, isn't it? It's
I don't know. I
Use
feel like it was a
dinky-dinky.
safe made into a cell.
a safe, but it had the.
Oh, because it was outside the
Yep.
bank there.
Well,
I
it
thought
did
it was
have
the original
bars on
safe.
it though that were at face level.
I
And
know it did look like a holding cell.
Looked like a holding cell to me too.
Could have been
Okay,
just like a
Darren.
temporary one, maybe for an hour or something.
Hopefully, you're
I
drunk
don't
when
know.
you go into that cell,
Yeah,
so that
who
you just don't
cares?
even. It doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
Then if it's
We are finding there were a lot of drinking in those.
a
little
drunk
towns.
tank,
Yeah.
full drunk tank.
Well, as the Odie, I mean.
yeah, I'll say, there you go. The
Hence
most
the name.
famous ghost.
Darren Sanders says, "I hope while in Laughlin you experience the raccoons that come out on the boardwalk late at night." And yes, we did,
We did.
and we filmed it.
Did.
And a skunk.
But we didn't have our good camera there. We were just running off of the iPhone, and
The
it just
lighting
did not pick
situation
it up, no matter
was
what
No.
we did. Yeah.
They were there. It just was black.
Yeah,
Couldn't see
all you
anything.
can see
Four or
is
five
like
of 'em.
blackness, and us going, "Look it! Oh, it's so cute! Oh, there's another one." And you're like, "I see nothing," so we didn't put it in, but we did.
You know, we could have animated them. This is where it was. You can't see it, but it's right here.
Yeah, and we got a skunk too.
Yeah,
That's
and
right,
I don't know if you could really even see the skunk
No.
on there, but
I mean, you could see it, but you had to be there. It was kind of one of those had to be there
yeah,
things.
you did throw that
There
in the
was a
outtake.
raccoon. We did get one of them though. That was down by the docks.
Yeah, it just
Did you see?
There was
I
some
filmed
footage of
that.
one.
I don't know.
I didn't get any footage of that one. We just went and watched it.
Bryson did though. I know you took footage.
I know I took footage of that.
I was with
Oh.
him.
Well, too late now. Get it off your phone. Sorry.
It was
Stuff
really
remains on
interesting.
the cutting
though.
room
Phone.
floor.
That
I
raccoon
take
was really
pictures.
interesting. There was a dock and a little alcove out from the dock,
Yeah.
and it was cold too. Like it was
Yeah,
frigid in
freezing.
the water. But the raccoon would wade into the water, and then it would go into. We think it was hunting fish, but it would go into the little alcove and it'd wait there, and then it'd poke its head out, and then it'd put it back in, and then it'd poke its head out. It never caught anything, but we think it was hunting fish. It was kind of cool to watch it, honestly.
I know you guys were there for a long time.
We were. It was
We
interesting.
watched it for a long time.
Yeah. I looked at that and I thought, okay,
It's
What's
a raccoon.
next?
Have fun.
it's a raccoon.
Yeah. I kept thinking where these things live. Where do they live?
Wherever they want to, I guess.
But I mean, like under the structures. I mean, where are
in
these
those
guys?
bushes and trees and things.
Because like you don't see any homes around for them, so they obviously blended in with the environment really, really well.
Maybe illegal to build raccoon
Yeah,
homes
but
for them.
what
or
do they
something.
do? Build, like, do they dig or something?
Holes, yeah.
Little holes
Probably
or
holes in
something?
the ground, holes in the
Oh.
embankment, and they can just come in and
Yeah.
out of the holes.
Head
Maybe
in, head
there's
out.
a raccoon
Or they have
hotel there and we
elevators,
didn't know.
and they can go down to certain floors.
It's a raccoon casino because it's
Casino
illegal
is
on that
down
side, but
there,
not on the
yeah,
other side.
yeah.
So it's a
Yeah,
big
that's
thing.
probably
They don't let
why.
skunks in, but
know,
they'll do.
Speaking
You know,
about one
skunks.
side and the other side, this was one other thing I was going to say. What do you do? If you're in the water, do you abide by the Arizona laws or do you abide by the Nevada laws?
Okay, so I have an answer for you. It's the Colorado River. So neither. You have to abide
Colorado.
by
Oh, you have to have
laws.
Colorado laws.
Exactly. That's where I was going.
Oh my
It depends on which half. I mean, they measure where you're at when you're breaking the law.
I have no idea. How do they do that?
I don't know either.
Or does it just like the Nevada owns the river? Anything that happens, it's Nevada's, and then it's Arizona as well. I don't
They may
know.
have jurisdictions like that
How
that
does
cross
that-
over.
They couldn't get a bridge built, so I'm feeling like it's a gray area. You know?
Oh dear.
Okay, Barbara Lennon says, in Laughlin, behind the Tropicana are labyrinths made of rocks, and they're fun to walk around. So next time we're there, we'll have to check that out.
To find the labyrinths.
Could you imagine you're on a houseboat and you just stay in the center? Because you're in trouble on both sides. Both of them are after you, but technically in the center, you're not breaking either law.
That would make
so you just stay there, and you just know you can't go to either side because you're trapped.
Yeah, and you starve to death because you can't get
That would be
food.
interesting, though. No, you'd fish.
Be interesting.
But
movie.
here's the thing, though.
True. Eat ducks.
That would make a really good movie. That would make an interesting plot line.
And like and they're both after you, but legally they cannot get you because you're in the center and nobody knows which law is which.
Bryson continues to turn this into a little
Yeah,
war
it's a
battle
movie
thing. Is this
now.
a guy thing?
It must be.
You've been doing this whole war between Arizona and Nevada since the movie started.
What you
I-
call
Bree
it?
mentioned
really-
cannons on either side, and I got carried away.
You really have.
So, did you have one more, Mom, or did we?
Yeah, this is kind of interesting, and this is something we're going to have to mention to Garen if he hasn't seen this comment. It's from Drek Fletch, and he says, if you folks haven't heard of it yet, apparently the new thing is to grow azolla, or maybe it's azoya, instead of duckweed. So we might want to look into that and see what that's all about. Bryson, you might.
Definitely.
That sounds
Okay.
like some researchable time.
Yeah, I learned about an algae you can eat too that you can grow. It's just for eating though. You wouldn't feed it
Ooh,
to your
eating
fish.
algae, interesting.
It's supposed to
Well,
be
no,
like a superfood.
Wasn't there a
like,
superfood? Texas
it's
superfood
supposed to be like
uses it.
amazing. But that's interesting. So there's a different
Yeah.
going back to fish food now. Instead of duckweed, there's another type of weed you would grow.
Yeah.
Azula, you
Yeah.
said?
I'm
Azula?
not
Now
on
let's
that
get this
page,
straight.
or I
It's a
would read
weed
it
that
again.
grows on the
Mom's
water.
moved on.
I've
That was
moved on.
yesterday's news.
Because
Now we're moving.
there is a
Oh.
really, really important comment that that we need to do some research on, and it's from Don Peterson. But I'm going to be honest. I think it's Don Peterson's wife who wrote this.
Dun,
I'm
dun,
thinking, but I don't
Conspiracy.
know. We don't know. So either Don or his wife wrote this. I hide behind Gary just like that too. So I don't know. Maybe other people don't. Okay. He writes. He
She writes. He writes.
Hope you all read these. Hope you read these comments often, over so often. Okay, saw the after effects of a wasp sting and a wasp sting, and you didn't mention my favorite sting and bite remedy. A doctor by the name of Agatha Thrash wrote many books. One of my favorites was RX charcoal. My oldest son, when he was a toddler, came running to me once from playing outside. His hand had been hit with, this is kind of, I've got this on a strange screen here, so I'm having to kind of move. Anyway, so his son, he runs to her. He gets stung by a wasp, and he's hit 5 or 6 times, and he's of course crying and screaming and stuff, and his hand is starting to swell. So she runs for this solution of activated charcoal and water. It's made into kind of a slurry, and she puts it on there and just pours it over his hand, and then soaks it with a paper towel, and puts it on the bites, of course. And within a couple of minutes, he stops crying, and the swelling stops and goes down. It goes down quickly. He's fine, but she kept the solution on hand and keeps doing it every 6 to 8 hours just to be safe. But she says, medically, charcoal is absorbent, not okay. So I guess there's a difference between adsorbent and absorbent. But in other words, he says, poisons bond to the charcoal molecule. So an EMT. I also learned this to administer liquid charcoal to people who had poisoned themselves. It's drinkable, has no taste. So when my boys, they have an upset stomach, he gives them this liquid charcoal in a glass with a straw. And they know that they're going to feel better soon by doing it. It really works. And we're in the desert. Of course, we have snakes and rattlers here. So he's letting us know that there's a link to the book, to look at this charcoal stuff, that possibly taking this out, poisonous stings and things like
Interesting.
this. I've never heard of activated. I mean, we've heard of activated charcoal. We've used it in applications
In like the sand filter we made a while back. We used it because
to
it
purify the water.
because it is known to take toxins out. But I guess I never really thought of it being put on a wound or if you get poisoned or
Yeah.
interesting.
So thank you.
That's really cool.
It was Dawn Peterson. Thank you for that. We are definitely going to be looking into that. That is really good information. We appreciate
we
that.
appreciate
really-
you sharing it. Appreciate you sharing it. Very cool.
So, and from my understanding too, there's a difference between activated charcoal and charcoal. There's a little bit of
Well,
a difference
now-
between those two.
The comment
word.
mentions.
Hector.
Don
yeah,
mentions.
let me read that part of it because he also said
sounds like-
charcoal. Okay, if you're in the wilderness and you get bit, charcoal can be taken from the campfire, poured into powder, and made into a little water with a little soft serve paste, and you put it on the bite. So,
Okay.
and he says he knows
Interesting.
people whose lives have been literally saved by the remedy. So,
Wow,
really
that's-
interesting. We love stuff like that and those
Yeah.
that kind of stuff to
That's
look
really
into.
cool.
Yeah.
So if you're listening
Yeah.
to this podcast in wilderness, keep that duly noted.
Some guy walking along with his headphones on gets a cut.
I think
But he's listening.
Oh,
But
yeah,
lo,
the-
he's listening to My
think
Little
the,
Homestead podcast.
I think the differences between activated and non-activated charcoal is just activated has more pores in it, so it's more absorbent than your normal charcoal. As far as
Yeah.
my understanding.
All right.
But
Well, I think that's
Yeah.
gonna.
it
sure
sounds like
somebody's gonna
both
let us
works.
know.
It sounds like both works, which is cool.
Yeah,
'cause
and there's
that's a real easy way.
he also posts a link to a book, and I think there's probably other information out there too that we can
That's
find.
cool.
So
For sure. So if you'd like to get the links, I know I will have links to my story of Rob, Bob, Tom, Michelson.
the casino breaker into
Ooh,
slot
I don't have
machine
my
guy.
notes. Yeah, the slot guy, and then Bryson's gonna have his
Oh, yeah,
link.
the Linus Tech
Tip ones too. So if you're
The
interested in
casino
learning a
stuff.
little bit more about those two subjects, they'll be down there for you to peruse. But be warned, when you lurk, when you get into this trail, you may never get off it again. So just letting you know. We really appreciate you being a part of our family. If you're joining us for the first time, you're coming from our iTunes podcast or Spotify. You don't know who we are. We are a family. We produce weekly videos over on our YouTube channel. Every Monday we have this podcast that we post. Wednesdays we have recaps, which are a full subject pulled from our main show, which is our variety show, The Weekly Peak, that comes out every Friday. So Wednesday, the recaps, and then Friday nights are the variety show. So if you're interested in that, you can check it out. We really appreciate you being here and being a part of this conversation. We love to answer and share comments from the latest Weekly Peak is kind of what this has developed into. We get to be able to respond and
Some behind
personally.
the scenes stuff. All kinds
Yeah,
of good
and share
stuff in
some behind the scenes stuff as well. So anyway, thank you so much for being here, and we'll see you on Wednesday. Bye.
there. Bye.